This is Karen O'Brien, and I would like to discuss how to set up a project alternative used from a GeoPackage. Let me delete one real quick. Now what I have here is I have this project, right? Let's say I want to do an alternative. I want to change something about the design of the dam in this project, or maybe just change the way that this project loads, whatever, maybe change the elevation of it. Anything that you want to do, this method will show you how to do that. So first off, we need to open QGIS. And once we have it opened, we don't want to load the regular project. That is going to stay right here. Okay, but what we do want is to build a new project. Now this is very important. So you need to go to settings and you want to do create, and then let's go into our project alternative folder, and we're going to call this tailings dam alternative. And I'll click save. And then I set that to the coordinate system of this project. It should be the same as your alternative and your baseline. And then I click OK. And now this is a blank, empty GeoPackage. Let me show you. As you can see from here, the GeoPackage is only 1.044 kilobytes. That means it's empty. Now what we need to do is import the baseline project into it. Now the baseline will be right here. And the baseline, then we can modify the baseline to make our alternative. Okay, so here's our baseline, and it has our baseline elevation. Now, now I want to do a save, so I'll click Save the Project, and this needs to go to Project Alternative, and this also needs to be called Tailings Dam Alternative. I'm just going to pick the name up from here, but I'll take off that .geopackage because this is going to be a QGZ file. And again, if you look back in here into our project alternative, if you're using build 115 of the plugin, 0.10.115, that's this plugin, then you'll need a GeoPackage, a QGZ file, and a GPKG file. Also note that once I imported that other GeoPackage, that baseline, note that the size went up because of the extra data that was added. Now let's do something to change the project so that you can see the difference between the start of the first project and the second project. So the only thing that I can think to do that would be very obvious would be to change the grid elevation. Let's go to the schematic layers. I'm going to click Open Attribute Table on the grid layer, and I'll click Edit, and I'm just going to set my elevation to -9999, and I'll click Update All. So that's basically resetting it to its start elevation for your grid. And I'll click Save, and then I'll turn the editor off once that is implemented. And now we can save the project here and close the project. Now we go back here, and let me open one here, and I'll open this in a new window. And what I have done is I have set my tailings dam. This is project alternative, and this is the baseline, or what it means is existing conditions, and this is alternative conditions, or whatever that may mean to you. It could be an alternative design, or it could be just two different ways to model the same project. Either way, this is how you would generate that alternative. Now, if I open this GeoPackage in a software called DB Browser, we can browse the data of this GeoPackage, and you can see that if I were to click on the Browse Data panel, I can go to Grid. I'm just typing in the word grid really quickly, and then I hit Enter because that selected the grid layer from the number of tables that we have. And as you can see, there are almost 100 tables associated with your GeoPackage, but they're in here alphabetically. So if you just use GR, it takes you right to the grid layer. That's the one we want. And you can see here that if I sort my elevation, it's clearly sorted. It's clearly been modified and updated. Now if I do the same thing on the old geo package, you will see, let's do the exact same thing. I put my browse data and then I go to grid, and here you can see that my high elevation is 734, my low elevation was 734 and my high elevation was 1420. So you can see that I have definitely modified that alternative geo package. And if I were to go to load this, if I were to go to load this QGZ, it would load this geo package. And if I were to load this QGZ file, it will load this geo package. So let's just test that. We'll double click on the tailings dam alternative. It's going to open it in my newest version of QGIS because I double clicked on it, and so my default is version 3.34. It doesn't matter though. Just if you start with one, stay with it. Let's just say that. If you start with a newer version of QGIS, then stay with it. And then you'll see that if, I don't know what'll happen if we click render elevation, nothing happens because there's no colors to render. And if you go to the grid table, you can see that my elevations are still -999. Now let's do the same thing with this QGZ file, except I don't want to do that quite. I made this with 3.28.14, so I'm going to stick with 3.28.14. And so for this one, we'll do it a little differently, and we'll just drag and drop this guy here. And then we're going to check the grid elevation for this one. Okay, and then you can see here that this grid elevation is here. And of course, if you looked in the grid table, you would also see that your elevation is here. So that's how you create an alternative design of a geo package and a project, and keep the data together. I hope this is helpful.